greatest sports debate show on the
For the first time since 2016, we have got a Game 7 in the NBA Finals.
championship rings. Starring
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. They won the championship ring.
I am loving this feud. Don't you dare shit on this. Don't you dare.
I'm going to shit on the stipulation of it.
Oh my God, the stipulation is fantastic.
So it is the first Tuesday after football, NFL Week 1, and we are back. Brandon Worth, host of Brandon's World, Ungar to the Max, host of the Sports Room Talk Show, Josh Ungar. Josh, it was a very eventful Week 1 of the NFL. Plus, we have some NBA news we'll get to at the end of the show and some sad news regarding WNBA phenom Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but there's no better place to start than, well, Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I would say, I know Patrick Mahomes is in the mix, but I would say Lamar versus Josh Allen is the new version of Peyton versus Tom Brady. I mean,
you can certainly make an argument. I still think it's Mahomes versus Allen. Now, the thing is, right, is the conversation surrounding this game is, was it more of a Ravens collapse or was it more of a Buffalo Bills comeback? And everybody has said, oh, it's all about the Ravens. How could they blow a 15-point lead? Am I watching the same game as everybody else? Because when it was 40-25, was I the only person that thought all Buffalo needs is one stop? This game was not over. The Bills, I don't know why those fans left the building. I understand the Ravens offense was running over the Buffalo Bills defense, which if I'm Buffalo moving forward, I absolutely do have concerns about. But on the flip side, the Ravens defense really cannot stop the Bills offense either. It was
Ed question why the Ravens decided to punt the ball on that fourth down.
So we'll get into that, but I want to set everything up first. So to me, it was Ed Oliver who stripped the ball, forced that fumble of Derrick Henry. It was the Bills defense who stacked 10 in the box after that and said, okay, Baltimore, if you're not going to get in the shotgun and run a read option with Lamar Jackson, instead if you're going to get an I form and run the ball right up the middle with Derrick Henry, well, then we're going to send 10 people at the box. And that's what Buffalo did. And they got the stop. And then Josh Allen does Josh Allen things. And all of a sudden, yeah, the comeback was real. And so do I have major concerns about both these teams moving forward? Yes. Was that an all-time classic, not only week 1 game, but one of the biggest and most classic NFL games in NFL history? Yes. But I hate how we're taking the narrative of, oh my God, the Ravens blew it to, what about Buffalo, who just came back down 15 points and refused to give up?
Yeah. I'm giving more credit to Buffalo than taking away credit from Baltimore in that sense. Because Baltimore beat themselves, but in the same breath, if Buffalo doesn't take advantage of the mistakes by Baltimore, they don't complete this comeback.
But again, what mistake are we talking about? Because if you're talking about the Derrick Henry fumble, to me, that's not a Ravens mistake. That is the Bills making a play on the football. The only mistake I think the Ravens made all night was the situation you talked about, which was the fourth down call, which Collinsworth on the broadcast rightfully brought up before the play on third down. He said, whatever play call they make here on third down should dictate fourth down because you should go for it the way they did 4 years ago to beat Kansas City in that classic week 2 Sunday night game.
Yeah, exactly. But give credit to Buffalo because now if you want to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC, you got to go through Orchard Park in New York. Because for me, they locked up the number 1 seed with this win.
Based off that, are you already declaring Buffalo the number 1 seed? Okay, well, let me ask you this then, based off that statement. If the Ravens had won Sunday night, would you have said the same thing about Baltimore? Did you feel like that game was for the number one seed in the AFC?
Yes, I did.
Okay. See, I would think that you probably could be right, but the issue is we still have 16 games to go. And outside of the regulars, Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chargers, we know are going to be good. Even, I'm sorry, Kansas City, they are going to be good. We don't know. I mean, look at the Colts, right? Are they going to be the surprise team this year? Are they going to be the sustainable team? Is New England not as good as maybe books projected them out to be? Like, we don't know yet. Are the Jets going to be a really good team with Justin Fields based on the way they play? So to me, there's just a lot more questions. I think this AFC East obviously runs through Buffalo, but to say they locked up the number one seed, I think is a little bit premature.
Okay, I understand that, but like, unless Kansas City gets their wide receiver issues figured out, I don't see
not even them. Look at the Chargers. I mean, we'll get into this. Did you see the way they played Friday night when Herbert had time? My Lord, was he accurate. And
Yeah.
Quinton Johnson, if they can get Quinton Johnson for a whole season going the way they did Friday night, along with Keenan Allen at 33 years old, catching 7 passes, the Chargers are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And I didn't hear anybody saying that before the season started.
Yeah. And Denver is nothing to sneeze at either.
I mean, I don't know. They didn't look that great to me against the Titans. I mean, I thought the Titans beat themselves.
Okay, but in terms of this game, I mean, these are the two best teams in the AFC. You can make an argument for the Chargers. You can make an argument if you really want to for Kansas City, but not right now.
I think you can, because these two teams have not proven to beat them in the postseason. That's the difference, especially Baltimore. Baltimore now, they not only proved they can't beat Kansas City, they can't even beat Buffalo. So how are we? That's my argument for the Ravens. I cannot take the Ravens seriously as a Super Bowl contender. I don't even know if they have the best quarterback in their division. There, I said it because I know how you feel about Joe Burrow. I cannot take this team seriously as Super Bowl contender when they can't beat the two teams that are better than them.
I would say right now, even though they lost, they still dropped 40 in Buffalo. I would say
they did in September. What's going to happen come January when the weather's freezing cold out? That's the real answer. I don't give a rip what the Ravens do because the Ravens always win September.
I understand that, which is the opposite of the Bengals, although, you know.
The Ravens are turning into our Cleveland Cavaliers, Josh. The team that dominates the regular season and gets beat in the second round of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, show me the evidence. What's Lamar? Something like 3-5 in playoff games? And hasn't played well, by the way, in a majority of those.
No, he hasn't. You're right. I get that. But for me right now, these are the two best teams in the AFC, and it's generally not close until I see more from the Chargers. I get it. They beat the Chiefs, but now they have to come back and play at the Raiders. The Raiders.
And that's a Monday night game that starts at 10 o'clock Eastern. So good luck to all of us who need a Charger or Raider player to win our fantasy matchups. We may be finding out who wins Tuesday morning.
I know, right?
Those are the two teams in the AFC. How about this team in the NFC?
Yeah.
So I'll go first on this one. Again, I don't think this game was much about the Packers because before the Super Bowl, I predicted the Packers to go to the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills.
Before the Micah Parsons trade.
Even before the Micah Parsons trade, yes.
Before the Super Bowl.
Oh, I apologize for that. Yes, before the Micah Parsons trade. In my opinion, this game said a lot more about the state of the Detroit Lions. And Jalen Sandvik, if you're listening to this, I apologize because I tried to tell you during the offseason the losses of Ben Johnson, an offensive coordinator, and the losses of Aaron Glenn at defensive coordinator is going to hurt the Lions. And the loss of Frank Ragnow at center at offensive line was very significant right before training camp for this Lions team. And they looked it on Sunday. Credit to the Packers, Josh, because they came out and on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line, they battered, they beat up, and they bruised the Lions. And Jared Goff, who I, a couple years ago, and even a little bit last season, was saying, oh my God, he might be the best quarterback in the NFC, looked like rookie Jared Goff that we saw a decade ago with Jeff Fisher coaching him in St. Louis at the time.
Yes.
That was a statement by the Packers, a team who got swept by the Lions last year. Remember, they got blown out in a weird rain game in Lambeau. I think that was like week 7 or week 8, somewhere around there. It might have even been week 4. But they beat the hell out of the Lions. And to me, you said the Bills, you think have already stamped themselves as the number 1 seed in the NFC, in the AFC. I could argue right now the Packers have made a statement. They have at least stamped themselves as the NFC North champions today.
Yeah, because I thought Detroit would be more of a tough opponent, but it seems like they lost that toughness. Like
they, in my opinion, and again, I'm sure we'll get into it in our other takeaway segments from the other NFC North game last night. But in my opinion, the team that looks like they're going to finish last in the NFC North this year, based off week 1, is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I could see that. And here's the thing. The Packers basically gave the Lions a taste of their own medicine because for the past couple seasons, it was Detroit that was punching teams in the mouth and being physical on the offensive line and the defensive line, with Frank Ragnow leading the way for the offensive side and Aiden Hutchinson leading the way for the defensive side. And yet, Rashawn Gary had his way with the Lions offensive line. When Micah Parsons was in there, he made significant plays.
And there's a couple quotes, by the way, to your point, on Micah Parsons. Now, it's been a debate for a little while now, like 2 or 3 seasons, who is the best right tackle in football, whether it was Lane Johnson of my Eagles or some people have taken Penei Sewell from the Detroit Lions. There are clips out there of Micah Parsons driving Penei Sewell back into Jared Goff. And he's the one that forced the interception down in the red zone at the end of the first half that felt like it completely flipped the game.
Yeah. I think the final score was like 27-13 or something.
That sounds about right. Either 24-10 or 27-13. I think you're right.
But it was not that close.
No, it wasn't. It felt over at halftime. And again, you think about the Lions, right? They go from winning in week 18, beating the Vikings last year, and being the number 1 seed with 15 wins in the NFC. They come out there by a rookie at that time, Jaden Daniels, absolutely lights them up, puts them over 40 on them. Both their coordinators leave. We see and again, I don't take much stock in preseason, but we see in the Hall of Fame game, they get demolished by the LA Chargers. And
with
now
Trey Lance as their quarterback.
Yes. And now they come out in week 1 and they get demolished up front by the Packers. I'm just saying it's not a good sign. And again, I reiterate, for all those people that love Dan Campbell so much, I like Dan Campbell. I'm not going to say he's not a great coach, but I do think he's very rah-rah, and he is not a scheme guy, and he is very coordinator dependent.
Here's my thing with the Packers. By trading for Micah Parsons, they basically said, we're putting all our chips in the middle. We're going for it this season. You know who gets all the pressure now? Jordan Love. because
Yes.
I was on the Jordan Love train before you were. It took you a little longer.
Well, I was even on the train last year. I got on the train before the season started this year.
Yes, but I was on the train before, based off what he did down the stretch last season to get the Packers into the playoffs. And I even when he led the Packers into the playoffs against and nearly beat the 49ers in San Francisco a couple seasons ago. That's when I got on the Jordan Love train. But, it's all on him now. They drafted a wide receiver in the first round for the first time in 20 years. They trade for Micah Parsons. You've got Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, the rookie, Tucker Kraft. You've got Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons defensively, Lucas Van Ness. All the pieces are there. Can Jordan Love step up? That's the thing with the Packers.
And of course, we'll see these two rematch on Thanksgiving night. Let's go to the Super Bowl loser from last year, who we already mentioned. They got beat up Friday night by the Chargers, losing 27-21. Concern for Mahomes and the Chiefs after falling to Herbert and the Chargers. I think I already alluded to this earlier. Now, with a caveat, I'm going to say this. I do not have concern about them yet. Spoiler, I am predicting them, obviously, to lose in the Super Bowl rematch on Sunday against my Philadelphia Eagles to knock them at 0-2.
I could see them starting the season 0-3.
Oh, there is no way they lose to the Giants. I will tell you that right now.
Start Jackson Dart at quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you that right now. If the Chiefs do fall to 0-2, that will be my favorite bet. I will take the Chiefs -30. I don't care what the line is. They will crush the Giants because that may be Brian Dable's last game as an NFL head coach. That's how bad the Giants look. I will say this, though. I actually do have two concerns for the Chiefs in this regard. I don't have concern that, oh my God, the sky is falling. They're not going to be this good. They may miss the playoffs. I think all that's baloney. What I do think is still legitimate concerns is this. Number one, outside of that one touchdown catch, Travis Kelce still looks old. And I was coming into this year thinking Kelce was going to have a better offseason. He was going to come in resurgence. He was going to be on the same page as Mahomes. He had a bitter taste in his mouth from how the Super Bowl ended a year ago. And he still looked like the same Travis Kelce, who is not the same player. And the other thing, and that, by the way, complicates things now with Xavier Worthy. We don't know his health status. And the other thing is this. Their defense, which had carried them the last two seasons, one of the best defenses in the league, they got shredded by a Charger passing attack that was efficient last year, but did not pass for a lot of yards. And the Chargers decided we're going to throw basically all over the yard here. And then they had Chris Jones line up at defensive end, especially on that last snap. He loses contain because he goes inside instead of staying outside. That's what allows Justin Herbert to man coverage to run for the first down and end the game. And again, despite the Chargers, in my opinion, significantly outplaying the Chiefs, if they would have just got that third down stop, who knows? We could be saying the Chiefs could be 1-0. So how concerned can you really be?
So, because of their wide receiver problems, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 7 right now for the Chiefs, honestly. Because think about this. They're having wide receiver problems, and everybody else in the AFC West was victorious. The Chargers beat them. The Raiders went into New England and won. And then the Broncos beat the Titans. So everybody else is 1-0. The Chargers already have a game in hand over the Chiefs in the division. The Raiders have that same opportunity when they host the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Actually, the Chargers play 3 straight division games to open the season because they host the Broncos next week. So that's a very interesting opportunity for them. We'll see if they take advantage of it. But because of the wide receiver issues and the fact that, you and I both said the Raiders were going to be an improved team. I have the Broncos winning the division. I think you have the Chargers winning the division.
No, I have Kansas City winning the division, but I have the Chargers and Raiders both as wild cards.
Okay, so you have the Chargers and Raiders both as wild cards. My mistake. But this AFC West, it's going to be very improved. And the Chargers showed, no, you're not just going to be the bullies of this division anymore. I know they've won it 9 straight years. I don't think it's going to be 10. I don't.
Well, the weird thing is, I told you when we did our NFL predictions show, I could not comprehend for the life of me how the Rashawn Slater injury for the Chargers automatically made Denver the favorite in the division. It's like everybody completely skipped past the Chargers. To me, if there was one team that's going to knock off the Chiefs in this division, it's a Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert-led team.
And you very well could be right, but I just really like the pairing of Sean Payton with Bo Nix. That defense is legit with Denver. I love.
Well, so is the Chargers. The Chargers defense was better than Denver's last year. They had the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL.
So I think, in my opinion, it's going to be a fight between those two for the division, unless Kansas City turns things around.
I think the Chiefs. Now the question is for the Chiefs. We thought they had a very hard schedule going into it. Well, what if the Lions somehow start 0-3? Then is Detroit not as good as we thought? Does that schedule get a little bit easier? So, as I said again, there are still a lot of unknowns here in week 1.
And I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs and they're going to have a losing record. No, I still think they're going to be a very good team. For God's sakes, it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm not trying to be dismissive of them. All I'm saying is I think the Chargers and the Broncos have closed the gap on them, and the Raiders aren't far behind. And for me, if they don't fix their wide receiver issues, the Chiefs are in trouble.
I agree that all 3 teams have closed the gap. I guess we'll see how significant of a gap it closes for the rest of the season.
Wait, before we move on, what do you think of the idea? Because number 10 is not very happy in Miami.
I was going to bring this up.
Okay. And the Chiefs need a wide receiver. Do you think there could be a reunion?
I brought this up during our prediction show as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it got done by next week. I mean, that's where I'm at with the Dolphins. I think they are a complete S show, if you will.
How did you lose 33-8 against the Indianapolis Colts, led by Indiana Daniel Jones? Daniel Indiana Jones.
Josh,
I did this Colts team to be the worst
team in
the AFC.
I think you're missing the point. I try to tell you, Daniel Jones was not as bad as you made him out to be. Now, do I think that Daniel Jones is going to go 7 for 7 and score on every single drive and become the first quarterback in NFL history all of a sudden to score on every single possession of a football game again? No, I do not. Did I think the Colts were going to beat the Dolphins? No, I didn't. Did I think it was going to be that badly? No. But my God, we could have had the surprise of the year in the AFC. Maybe it's not the Raiders. Maybe it's not the Patriots. Maybe it's the Colts. Or maybe it's the Jags. Both of those AFC South teams looked really good to me. A lot better than Houston looked, I'll say that.
Yeah. Houston did not look good starting their season on the road against the Rams. The Rams defense terrorized C.J. Stroud all game
Once again, on his back all game. And again, We all said the Texans were going to win the division by default because they have the best quarterback. Well, do they? I mean, if Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones play the way they played on Sunday and CJ Stroud plays the way he played, the Texans are not winning that division.
I cannot wait for Monday Night Football. Buccaneers at Texans. Spoiler alert, I have this game really high in my top 5 games to watch list. I think this is going to be a fascinating game.
I don't understand. And again, I know, Josh, you're not big into gambling. I don't understand why the Texans are 2.5-point favorites. To me, that should be flipped. I know it's in Houston, but I like Tampa.
So, give credit to the Buccaneers, by the way, because during our prediction show, I said the Buccaneers would take a bit of a step back, and I predicted Atlanta to win that division. And Baker Mayfield said, you can take that opinion and shove it.
Well, Baker did regress from about a quarter. He started 0 for 5, and Michael Penix got that quick 50-yard touchdown to Bijan Robinson, and it was like, uh-oh, Tampa. And then all of a sudden, the Bucs just find another great rookie wide receiver in Emeka Buka out of Ohio State. And, yeah, he already works. He has a chance to win Rookie of the Year. I'll say that right now. If you guys want to go ahead and put in your bets for Rookie of the Year, I think Emeka Buka might be a great pick because that guy is a stud, and he was the difference in the game, and that's why the Bucs won outside of, again, Young Wei Koo missing another field goal because every day in the NFL, we have football games where men go to war for 60 minutes a game, and then it comes down to a soccer player checking the wind and kicking a ball for the uprights to determine the result of football games.
Wait. You're saying that when you go to kick a field goal or extra point, the objective is to kick the football between the two giant yellow goalposts?
I know in Cleveland they don't understand how that works and why that kicker and why the kicker and wide receiver coach, for the record, hasn't been fired yet is beyond me. But
Andre
whatever.
Schmidt, I'm sorry, but he deserves to be kicked straight into Lake Erie. And I feel like if I did it, I would be more accurate than him.
So here's my thing. Everybody says the Browns outplayed the Bengals, which they did. Everybody says, oh my God, the Bengals didn't look that good, which they didn't. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Bengals offense only scored 17 points. Last year, they scored 38 points 5 times. They lost all 5 games. In week 1, they scored 17 points, and they won the game.
Yes, I know. The Bengals were held to 7 net yards in the second half.
And they won the game. And Myles Garrett, who I have criticized a ton on this show.
Yes,
I thought played the best game he's ever played in a Browns uniform.
Yeah, the Bengals were minus 18 in the fourth quarter, and yet they still won. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins only had a combined 5 receptions, and yet they still won.
Again, I don't know why everybody's taking it as a negative for Cincinnati. I think that's a huge positive. Like, oh my God. And now all of a sudden, we'll see how Jacksonville works. I think that's a very interesting game in week 2. Could the Bengals do what I said they were going to do at the start of the year and start 2-0? And what if, by the grace of God, Joe Flacco comes back to Baltimore and upsets the Ravens and the Bengals start 2-0 and the Ravens start 0-2?
I don't see that happening. This is the Ravens home opener.
Hey, wait, hold on. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let me just paint the scenario, Josh. Do you remember what happened last year to the Ravens? They lost a heartbreaker. Week 1 at Kansas City. Isaiah Likely's toe was on the line. What happened in week 2 to the Ravens?
They played their home opener and lost, I think, to the Raiders.
You are correct. So why couldn't they play their home opener this year in week 2 and lose to a 4-win football team in the Cleveland Browns? It's the same script.
Yeah. Remember how I said the Browns were going to win 6 games this year? I was wrong.
I tried to tell you. I thought 4 was optimistic with this team. Now, I will say this. I'm still a firm believer. If Shedeur Sanders starts that game, I think the Browns win.
If Dylan Gabriel starts that game, I think the Browns win.
And you know what? I'm sorry. I usually don't do this on this show, but I am taking a complete shot at 92.3 The Fan and ESPN Cleveland, the local radio stations here in Cleveland, Ohio. On Monday, all the talking heads, thank God I don't work for those radio stations or I'd be fired in 5 minutes because everybody would hate me because all you guys talked about for hours was, oh my God, the kicker, the kicker, the kicker. How about talk about how Joe Flacco threw the ball 45 times? The ball bounced off Jerry Judy's hands. The ball was bouncing off Cedric Tillman's hands. Dylan Sampson and Farron, the rookie tight end of Bowling Green, were the only 2 competent weapons on the field. And throughout the first half, you got your asses ran on by Chase Brown. But yeah, everything's cool because Quinshawn Junkins is coming back next week. Who gives a rip? Oh, and by the way, your baseball team is only 2.5 games out of the wild card, yet all you want to talk about is a kicker. Give me a break.
I know. But here's a hot take, and I was saying this even before the game on Sunday. Joe Burrow is overrated.
So by overrated, so I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
I would take Lamar over him. I would take Josh Allen over him. I would take Patrick Mahomes over him. I would take Justin Herbert over him.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Justin Herbert has never won a playoff game.
I would still take him over Burrow right now.
Oh, come on.
And if Bo Nix continues to play the way...
Oh, come on. You are not going to take Bo Nix. You didn't even mention my guy, Jalen Hurts.
Hold on. In the NFC side, I was just talking AFC.
Okay.
In the NFC side, yes, I would take Jalen Hurts over him. I would take Jordan Love over him.
Hasn't proven a thing, but yeah, Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, but yeah.
I would take Matt Stafford over him.
Matthew Stafford, to me, is the most overrated quarterback in football. He had 1 good year with the Rams. That's it.
I liked what he did with the Lions, but granted...
He didn't do anything with the Lions. He never even won him a playoff game.
But he didn't make the playoffs.
So Joe Burrow, with the worst offensive line in the Super Bowl era, got them to the Super Bowl. Then last year, he goes 9-8 on a team that had literally the worst defense in pro football modern history, and you say he's overrated.
You know a big reason why he did that? Guess who he has? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Is that his fault? Of course he has those guys. It helps to have good receivers. Ask Jalen Hurts. Do you think Jalen Hurts is overrated? He has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and he doesn't even throw to either one of them.
Yeah, that was hilarious on Thursday, by the way.
We will talk about that, by the way, when we get to the Super Bowl. I am ready to unleash on what I saw on Thursday night.
I need Jalen Hurts to throw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith more because I have them both on my fantasy team.
Well, Josh, I think your fantasy team's in trouble. I have A.J. Brown. Let me say I'm keeping him for now. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl rematch, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Maroney, the whole crew. Fox Super Bowl Sundays.
Crew that called Super Bowl 59. And let's start with this. Jalen Carter, who was ejected on during Thursday's game before the first damn snap. I don't know what he was thinking.
There's all these rumors out there, and if you watch the video, you can see Dak Prescott. He did say something to Jalen Carter. allegedly it was something about his brother died or something, making a case to obviously what he did in Georgia, which was why he dropped in the draft. That he almost basically committed murder. I mean, let's call
Yeah.
it the way it is.
And there's also the rumor going around that it was Dak Prescott who spit first.
Which he did. If you watch the video, that is true. And they showed that on the first angle when they first ejected him. Dak did spit. He spit at the ground. And I think what he ended up saying to Jalen Carter, something along the lines of, again, like your brother's dead or something. But then he said, you wouldn't spit. And Jalen Carter then obviously responded with what he did. Now, again, it's absolutely wrong. He should have gotten fined. I wouldn't put it past my Philadelphia Eagles to internally suspend him to start this game against Kansas City. As a matter of fact, if they do it, I would not blame them. They said they're going to handle everything internally. They did the same thing with a similar conduct detrimental to the team against the Falcons in week 2 last year. We ended up losing that game. And what happened against the Saints last year, that's when he started his campaign as one of the best defensive tackles in football a year ago. Now, I had predicted Jalen Carter to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. If he got suspended or ejected or whatever, I don't know if that technically makes him ineligible for the award or not. But when he does go out there against Kansas City on Sunday, I would suspect he's going to get another penalty because that boy is going to play with rage and he's going to play with anger. He is, to me, I said he's the next Aaron Donald, which I think he is, but he plays like Ndamukong Suh back in the day when Ndamukong Suh first started in the league.
Yes. And he was suspended for a game, but I guess because of the ejection and basically missing the entire game against Dallas, he already served that suspension.
And by the way, you can see the impact immediately. As soon as he was off the field, it was like, uh-oh, the Cowboys were running the ball down my defense's throat. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, it didn't matter. If that fumble does not happen and Quinyon Mitchell does not pick it up and Dak Prescott doesn't make a game-saving tackle, I'm not sure we win that game. That game was so weird. It had 2 half times, a rain delay. Teams could not stop each other in the first half, and then they couldn't, get a first down basically in the second half. So,
and Jalen Hurts didn't throw it to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith at all.
Well, he threw to Devontae one time early, and then obviously A.J. Brown late. I will say, because I went back and I watched when they would show the overhead of the play designs. A.J. Brown was not open. And the Cowboys were doing that by design. They were double teaming A.J. Brown. They were taking him out of the game. I don't think Jalen Hurts was intentionally not trying to throw the ball to A.J. Brown. I think their game plan was, we're going to take away A.J. Brown. We're going to give you Dallas Goedert underneath and Jahan Dotson and live with it. Now, do I think A.J. Brown's frustrated? I do. Do I think they're going to try to get A.J. Brown the ball more in week 2 against the Chiefs? I do. Do I think this can become a bigger story down the road if A.J. Brown goes another half or even, dare I say, the first quarter of this game against the Chiefs without getting another touch? Unfortunately, yeah, I do.
And I don't think the Eagles are going to trade A.J. Brown. I don't think it'll get to that level.
I think it's more likely than you do, actually.
Okay.
I'm not saying it right now. I'm saying if this continues to be the issue, if he's going the whole game without a target, there's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
This was different than last year in the AFC and NFC championships because while the offense ran through Saquon, you still felt like, okay, A.J. Brown, Devontae is involved. They're at least getting a couple touches, where it just felt like very weirdly, especially in the second half, we were like trying to run out the clock because all rhythm of the game was disrupted by the rain delay. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. Which I drafted both Devontae and A.J. Brown. I tried in a couple of my leagues, I tried to get all 3, Saquon, Devontae, and A.J. Brown. It didn't end up, it worked in one of my leagues, not the others. but nonetheless, but how do you feel about the trade the Eagles just made yesterday with the Jaguars bringing in Tank Bigsby?
So I don't think a lot of people know this, but Will Shipley did suffer a rib injury. That was confirmed today. He's going to be out a few weeks. That is my best guess for why they brought in Bigsby, who was on the practice squad last year. So he has familiarity with the system. I don't mind it. Do I think a fifth and a sixth is a lot for a backup running back? I maybe wouldn't have paid that much, but in Howie Roseman, we trust. I mean, the guy does have 2 Super Bowls, and he's a Hall of Fame GM.
Yes. I do find it interesting that this Super Bowl rematch is in Kansas City again, just like the previous Super Bowl rematch between these two when they played on Monday Night Football a couple years ago. I believe the Eagles won that previous.
We did. Remember that was the game where Mahomes aired it out to MVS and he dropped the ball in stride, or Kansas City was taking the lead.
Yes, that's correct. So do I think it's going to be 40-22 like it was in Super Bowl 59? I don't. But if the Chiefs don't get their off wide receiver issues fixed, like I mentioned earlier, the Eagles could come in here and blow them out. Honestly.
Well, Philly has a cornerback 2 issue. I will say that. That's the biggest issue I see for my team right now, and repeating, is who's going to be the number 2 corner outside of Quinyon Mitchell, because Adoree Jackson got toasted by CeeDee Lamb. Most of the catches that CeeDee Lamb had prior to his free drops in the fourth quarter on Thursday's game was against Adoree Jackson.
By the way, I did like that CeeDee Lamb took accountability for after the game.
The Cowboys looked way more buttoned up. And by that, I mean situationally, ready to go, creative, in and out of the clock. They look prepared to play, unlike any team we saw the last 2 years in the McCarthy era.
I agree with you.
Now, again, to me, it's and again, this may be a cop out. You can say what you want because I'm an Eagles fan. As soon as Jalen Carter got ejected for that game, I think the whole game plan got thrown out the window for both teams. And then the rain delay happened, and it's like, I don't even know what to make of this game. Can we just win the game?
Yeah, I understand that. But like going into this game, how much is revenge going to be on the minds of the Chiefs?
Well, I don't think that. I think winning is on the mind of the Chiefs, because I was rooting for them to beat the Chargers because I did not want to face an 0-1 Chiefs team. I am scared of that factor because I don't think the Chiefs want to go down 0-2.
Plus, this is the Chiefs' home opener.
Yeah. We've seen them lose home openers, though, in the past.
Yeah, they really should have lost last year's home opener if Isaiah Likely's toe isn't on the freaking line.
Correct. So, like you said, I don't think it's 40-22. It should be 40-6. But no. I think it's going to be like 24-17. I think it is going to be a lower scoring game. I envision Mahomes having the chance to win the game and my defense getting a stop to seal it.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts' mobility is going to make the difference. Do I think
Jalen ran a lot. I understood it. He had to make plays when he had to, specifically at the end of the game.
Sure.
But 14 rushing attempts, that was a lot. I do want to see that come down. I do like the fact they were mixing in A.J. Dillon and Will Shipley, not giving Saquon Barkley every carry in the world. That's also another reason why I think they brought in Bigsby for the time being, because they want Saquon fresh for a postseason run, because he did get so much of the workload a year ago.
And I do think also, I know we're talking about the Super Bowl 59 rematch, but from the Jaguars' perspective, that's for them to trade Tank Bigsby, to me, sends a loud and clear message that they believe Tank or Travis Etienne can figure it out with Trevor Lawrence.
Well, and that he was healthy. I mean, did you see he had 16 carries for 130 yards?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, the one thing that we did not talk about here that I forgot to mention that I wanted to go back and talk about real quick was I think, Josh, our hype on Bryce Young and the Panthers should die. Bryce Young's back to the old Bryce Young. I don't know what the hell happened. They look like the Panthers that started. What did they start 1-8 a year ago?
Yeah. And my other big takeaway is are we sure Ben Johnson's actually gonna fix Caleb Williams?
Okay, so everybody's saying this again. Maybe I watched a different game. I actually thought Caleb played pretty well last night. All things considered, based off what we saw a year ago, I was very impressed with what I saw. Obviously, the first couple of series. Did he miss throws? Yes. Did he miss DJ Moore in the back of the end zone? Yes. Was he with a wild eye and did the offense melt down? Yes. But I did think you did see signs that, like, he's going to get better in this offense. I think it's going to take time. At the same time, I think people are way overreacting to JJ McCarthy having one great quarter because
I
it
don't. Kevin O'Connell did this last year with Sam Darnold.
okay, but JJ also went 13 for 20 passing. That's it. He only threw the ball 20 times. And he got a run game in the fourth quarter. So what's going to happen when he's down 10 and doesn't have a run game? He has to continue to pass the ball.
I cannot wait for this Sunday night game between the Falcons and Vikings.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm like, that's a weird game to put on Sunday night. There's so many better games to put on Sunday night. And then I was like, you know what? I'm excited to see Penix versus JJ in primetime, to watch them both. You know how I am on young quarterbacks. I need to watch them with my own eyes. I understand. I have higher expectations for JJ because he has an offensive coach, because he has all these weapons. It's the same thing for Caleb. I'm just saying, I think JJ had a really good quarter. I want to see him sustain it. I think Caleb showed me good signs. He just needs to maintain it for 4 quarters.
So here's my thing. I'm not saying Caleb and Ben Johnson together is a complete failure, but it just seemed like at times throughout that game, from my perspective, they were not on the same page about what they wanted the offense to be.
And I agree with that. But again, is some of that just maybe it's been Johnson's first game as an NFL head coach?
And it's so hard to face Brian Flores and that defense in your first start.
Well, for Caleb, it's if we're gonna say that it's fair, then we're giving Caleb Lawrence the Trevor Lawrence treatment. Then if we're gonna say, Matt Eberflus was Caleb Williams as Urban Meyer, that's fine by me. Then let's give Caleb a full year here.
The Bears have had 3 different head coaches over the last 2 seasons?
The Bears have a new era every single year. And this year, they went out and they got offensive linemen and they drafted more weapons. They have every weapon in the world you can think of. The bigger concern to me for the Bears was, I like Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. He's obviously a terrible head coach, but very good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, don't ask the Saints about Dennis Allen.
They couldn't stop the run in the fourth quarter, Josh. The Vikings were getting 10 yards to carry. Don't you make an adjustment at some point?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because we both said that based on what they did against the Lions on Sunday, the Packers stamped their ticket to win this division. Do you think that the Vikings could emerge as that team that pushes them?
I mean, they could. If Chicago falls off and Detroit falls off, yeah. But I think it's going to be more learning curve for J.J. McCarthy. With that being said, they could start 2-0, and who knows? I mean, they did win 14 games a year ago. Yeah. I told you, I don't know what to think of the Vikings. I don't think their roster is amazing, but they just find a way to win games.
Yeah, and when they get Jordan Addison back, I like that wide receiver room of Adam Thielen, who they traded for from the Panthers, Justin Jefferson. Thank God he had a big game because I needed him to win my fantasy football matchup after what Lamar did.
Funny story about this. So in my work league, right, I'm down 120-35 going into Sunday Night Football. The person I was playing was done. I still had I still had Derrick Henry, James Cook, the Ravens' new kicker, Luke, and Caleb. And I came back and won. So thank you, Derrick Henry, very much. I have him in both of my leagues this year. All right, we've been talking about football a lot. Should we get to our top 5 games of the week?
Yeah. So I'll go first if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So number 5, I've got Monday Night Football. Actually, no, I'm putting this game higher on the list, so not yet. At number 5, I didn't think I was going to put this game in my top 5 list. Well, because I thought one of the teams would be terrible since Daniel Jones is their starting quarterback. But yeah, I am starting my list with the game at Lucas Oil Stadium, Denver at Indianapolis. The Colts caught me off guard by putting up the performance they did against Miami. But now you're facing a really good defense in the Denver Broncos, and I'm really high on the Broncos. You are not. And I think the Colts are going to be trash this season. If Indy goes out and wins this game, it will definitely catch my attention about them. So I got that as my number 5 game. More so because of the Colts than the Broncos, since I'm so high on the Broncos already. Number 4, this one might be surprising to you, considering one of the teams lost their season opener on the road, but it's the LA Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans in the Titans home opener. I didn't think the Rams played particularly well against the Texans in their week 1 game, but they did just enough. And with the Titans, I thought Cam Ward looked okay. I didn't think he looked great against the Broncos. And now he comes home and he's taking on another really good defense. You got Jared Verse coming after you. We're going to find out how good that Titans offensive line is, because you go from a stout Broncos defense to a really solid Rams defense. So that's my number 4. Number 3, I alluded to it earlier, Monday Night Football in Houston, Buccaneers against the Texans. I just talked about it. Houston, they didn't play well. They got bullied by the Rams defensive line. Jared Verse was able to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And now you got a Todd Bowles-led defense coming in. Baker Mayfield leads the Buccaneers on a game-winning drive. And Emeka Egbuka, you talked about it earlier. It's just plug and play with the Buccaneers. They just find these rookie wide receivers and boom, it works. So I'm very interested in this game. Number 2, I thought about going Sunday Night Football here, but I'm actually going to go with the Thursday night game. Commanders at Packers. Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, short week in Lambeau. These are 2 of the premier teams in the NFL. We both have the Packers getting to the Super Bowl. I have them winning. You do not. We both have the Commanders making the playoffs. Though
No, I did not. I had them missing.
That's right. You're right. My mistake. But we both feel like the Commanders are going to be that team once again to challenge the Eagles and be in the mix. So it's going to be interesting to see how these 2 teams play on a short week. You know, both teams are coming off of division games against the Giants and Lions. So how does that factor into this? And then number 1, it's the Super Bowl rematch. Eagles Chiefs. What more do I need? Excuse me. What more do I need to say?
Okay. We only agree on 3 games on the list. Only 1 game we agree on the order. I think you know what that game will be. So Number 5 on my list. It is the DK Metcalf revenge game.
I seriously considered putting this game in the list. I really did.
This to me was a coin flip between Indianapolis and Denver, which you had, and this game. I went with this game more because of the Aaron Rodgers factor. The Packers and or not the why did I say the Packers? The Steelers. I was a major slip up, folks. I apologize. The Steelers impressed the hell out of me with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, putting up 34 points in an offense coordinated by Arthur Smith. I didn't even know that was possible. And
by the way, the Jets impressed the hell out of me.
Yes.
Also.
By the way, this game's not on my list, but I considered Bills Jets because of the way the Jets play. Is Justin Fields sustainable? We're gonna find out throughout the season. But yeah, I'm very interested in what Seattle looks like with Sam Darnold now on the road going into Pittsburgh. I thought they had San Francisco dead to rights and beaten, and then Nick Bosa makes a play. The offensive lineman goes right into Sam Darnold's lap, and the ball comes out, and Brock Purdy makes an incredible throw to like the third string tight end in the back of the end zone to beat Seattle. Again, me and you had different opinions on the Seahawks this year. I don't know what to make of Seattle. I got to watch them more, and I don't know how to feel about Pittsburgh yet. I got to see them sustain this, so I'm interested in this game. At number 4, you mentioned it already, the first part of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, Tampa, Houston, down in Houston. I want to see how the Texans' offensive line responds against a very good Tampa Bay defense, a defense that we know is going to blitz under Todd Bowles, because if the Texans get run over again, if they lose, and let's say Indianapolis beats Denver, or, Jacksonville beats Cincinnati, Houston's in trouble. At number 3, Thursday night, you already talked about it. I don't need to go much more in depth about it. Commanders, Packers. The one point I will add to this game is this, Josh. I think if the Packers want to have the number 1 seed in the NFC, they have to win this game.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to be one of those games against a big-time rival, a game that could decide if the Commanders are a playoff team or not. I think they will be the difference between the Packers and Eagles getting the 1 and 2 seed in the NFC, the way I look at it.
Okay.
At number 2, this game isn't even on your list, and I can't wait to watch this game because of the desperation from both of these teams now at 0-1. One of these two teams who we both had making the playoffs are in the same division. They're in the NFC North. Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears going back to Detroit to take on Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. I think there's so much desperation now, the way Chicago lost that game and the way the Lions got basically the hell beat out of them by the Green Bay Packers. Could you imagine if Ben Johnson goes into Detroit and beats the Lions? And then guess what, Josh? The week after that, the Lions have to go to Baltimore. There's a very real possibility the Lions start 0-3.
And if they start the season 0-3, they are going to slaughter the Cleveland Browns in week 4.
And then, by the way,
that game will be like a total joke. And everybody will be like, oh, yeah, the Lions offense is just fine.
And then, obviously, number 1, no need to say anything more. 4:25 on Fox. Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl 59 rematch.
I'm honestly surprised that they're doing this game this early in the season.
I like it better than the middle of the year, to be honest. For me as a fan, right, as an Eagles fan, get the Super Bowl rematch out of the way. I don't want to worry about having to play Kansas City middle of the year and get caught up in it. I would have loved, I know this game's in Kansas City, but I would have loved to have us have a ring banner week 2 and get this game over with week 1. I'm a stickler for early Super Bowl rematches because it's more of a rematch than if you were later in the year because all these teams change.
I understand that. It's also bizarre to me. I get why you started the season against Dallas because it's Dallas and they're your biggest rival. I still would have had you guys play the Rams in the season opener because they gave you your best fight in the playoffs. I think you play them, week 4?
Week 3. So it's next week.
That is brutal for the Eagles because you go Chiefs, Rams, and then at Tampa.
And then we owes your team, the Denver Broncos.
That's a tough stretch.
And then we get a break week 6 against the Giants, but they may be starting Jackson Dart by then.
Like I told you, I know you think I'm crazy, but if the Giants start Jackson Dart, they could beat the Chiefs in week 3.
I will bet a Dr. Pepper or whatever drink you will on that. I don't think it's possible. All right, enough football talk because we actually have for the first time in a while time to talk about the National Basketball Association because the All-Star Game is going to a different format again.
Does anybody actually care? I just wanted a straight up USA versus World game, not this round robin thing. Like, just do a straight up USA versus World. Just how hard is that?
Well, like I said before, when we talked about this, when this was proposed, obviously into the Four Nations NHL event was done so well this past year. The problem with just doing a straight up USA versus the world is there's not enough all-stars for the world to represent to form a full team. You'd have to essentially give all-star selections to guys that don't deserve it to fill out a full 12-team world squad. There's about 8 guys, but you don't have 12.
So, I mean, if you really want to, like, you could put Joel Embiid with Team World, SGA, Jokic, Luka,
Giannis, obviously.
Yeah, Giannis.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
Maybe Shed Holmgren.
Maybe. You're right. It is difficult to find, like, all-stars to represent.
Like we just mentioned them. Once you get done rattling them on the top of your head, you're like, okay, where do I go?
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
I understand that. But, like, this round-robin tournament or whatever, it's okay. But, like, it's not. No.
Here's the other thing. This game, because the Winter Olympics is going to be on NBC this year, this game's going to be in the afternoon. So it's not going to be in prime time this year.
Yeah. That's correct. And it's going to be at the Clippers Arena out west.
So it's going to be like I would imagine 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time.
Something like that.
Which is going to feel very weird for an all-star game. Yeah, I'm just going to say this. What is wrong with the old school method? What's wrong with straight up East versus West and just trying? What happened to the all-star game? Why did an all-star game all of a sudden turn into a participation trophy because people are afraid to get hurt? I understand it in football when guys rest because football is a physical, violent sport with contact. I mean, guys go down all the time. We know this. In basketball, unless you're going 100 miles an hour, there's no real risk of injury, in my opinion. You can still contest a shot and play our defense without risking major injury.
I agree. Like, I understand it for the NHL. Like, guys are getting slammed into the boards.
Yes. Like, I get it, right? The NBA playoffs are very physical. They're almost football-like. I actually think the NBA regular season is refereed too Mickey Mouse, and the playoffs are refereed too tightly. I'd like to see a more middle ground, as we've talked about this for years now when it comes to NBA officiating. But that's the problem with it for me is the NBA, out of all the products to me right now, and all 3 major sports that I watch, because I don't watch the NHL, it's the hardest watch because it's an inconsistent product. And I'm sorry, you can slander me all you want for this. The players don't care because Adam Silver has empowered the players too much. And for whatever reason, and maybe LeBron started this, maybe he didn't, maybe it was the next generation. I don't know who decided this, but somebody decided the regular season doesn't matter anymore. And whoever got that message across pretty much made everybody think, oh, okay, we're just going to play hard in April, May, and June and decide a champion.
Yep, basically. But, you know, the Minnesota Lynx are taking on the Indiana Fever tonight, but you know who's not going to be there? Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA, make her the logo, make her the face of everything. It should be renamed the CWNBA for Caitlin Clark, Women's National Basketball Association, because that's what she is. Josh, the value of her could not be more clear as what it is now. I know the Indiana Fever are a good team. I know that, they could potentially make a playoff run here. But from a merchandise perspective, from a ticket sale perspective, from a viewership perspective, Caitlin Clark is the league. Nobody has talked about the WNBA on any national show the minute she went out. She was the lead story throughout the whole summer a year ago because she was revolutionizing the sports world. And as I've talked about many times before, these WNBA players, in my opinion, and the commissioner and everybody associated with the WNBA does not appreciate her.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations to Sue Bird, Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore, my favorite player in all of the WNBA. I'm being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I didn't even hear about this. I guarantee you, if it was Caitlin Clark and she was still out there, I would have heard about it.
Dwight Howard went into the Hall of Fame. Carmelo Anthony also went in. You had one of the Olympic teams with LeBron go in. I don't remember which one it was. Mickey Harrison went in with the Miami Heat. So congratulations to all of them. But yeah, you're 100% right. Because the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty are the top two teams in the WNBA, and nobody's really talking about it. And we got two new teams coming in next year, the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire. And then basically in 2 years, in 2028, we got most likely the Cleveland Rockers coming back. Then Detroit, most likely the Detroit Shock, because that was their old team name. They're coming in 2029. And then Philadelphia's coming in 2030.
I heard a stat somewhere, and again, the numbers could be a little bit off here, so don't directly quote me on this. But since Caitlin Clark has been injured for the Fever, WNBA viewership overall has been down 60%. Ticket sales for Indiana Fever home games and even away games are down 70%. And I've heard that the WNBA was even thinking about potentially taking the Indiana Fever off of national television because there's no reason to televise them if Caitlin Clark's not in the game.
Yeah. Tonight's their last home game of the season against the Minnesota Lynx, and it's on ESPN. I don't know.
Didn't even know that was a thing. Did not even know that they were playing. They were getting ready for a playoff run.
Yeah, they are getting ready for a playoff run. Who knows? Maybe she'll be back for that. I don't know. It's been an injury-riddled season for her. I would say right now it's either going to be Nafisa Collier or Asia Wilson who win MVP, because Asia Wilson has dominated this season with the Las Vegas Aces, and Nafisa Collier just continues to do her thing with the Minnesota Lynx. But that's the story. It's Caitlin Clark or it's nothing with the WNBA, unfortunately.
Let me ask you this question. Why is the WNBA calendar so backwards? Why do they not run a similar calendar to the NBA? Why are their playoffs going to run in the middle of the NFL season, the college football season, and the MLB playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, it would be, I think it's because, during the fall, you got the NBA season going on, you got the NHL season going on. It would be hard and some of these teams share arenas with an NBA team and an NHL team. So I think it would just be hard logistically to coordinate that at the arenas with all those different games.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I know that they want to expand games, but then you're expanding. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care how popular Caitlin Clark is. No one is watching her over an NFL game or even a college football game. College football has now become the second most popular sport in the country.
Yeah, I know. By the way, what has happened to the Florida Gators?
Well, we'll find out this weekend. I know they play somebody good. Don't they play LSU?
Number 3. Yeah, we're gonna get into this. So there you go. Yeah, I thought for sure College Game Day was gonna be in Baton Rouge for Florida LSU, but no, they lose on a last-second field goal to USF, who has started the season 2-0 by beating back-to-back ranked teams, Boise State and Florida. So now College Game Day will be in Knoxville, Tennessee for Georgia against Tennessee, which kicks off at 3:30.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game on ABC. I'm excited to see that. I'll be honest with you, Josh. I was busy moving boxes. Guys, for those of you that don't know, I'm getting windows replaced in my house right now. So I am living out of a hotel for the past week. I had to move in on Saturday. So I did not see one lick of college football on Saturday. I turned on a TV to one night.
I think Brandon's signal is going a little wonky, but there you go. But
am I here? Are we good?
I think so.
Okay.
Oklahoma took it to Michigan on Saturday night in Norman. I thought it was a fantastic game by John Mateer, the starting quarterback for Oklahoma. The Sooners just continue to do this. Like, they had Caleb Williams as there. They've had Baker Mayfield. They've had Kyler Murray. I'm sure there's a Jalen Hurts.
But that was all with Lincoln Riley there, though.
Yes, I know, but still, Oklahoma just continues to churn out these quarterbacks.
Well, we'll see how good they are when they go up against Texas in a couple of weeks in the Red River rivalry. I don't know if you heard me or not, but because of my moving situation, I did not see a lick of college football on Saturday. I didn't even turn on a TV. Yeah. So you're going to have to fill me in, basically. I'm excited to watch Tennessee and Georgia this week. I think that's going to be a really good game. And then the following week, I believe, is Alabama, Georgia.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, Alabama, I saw killed 70-0. Like, I was week 2 already because there was no big game outside of Michigan and Oklahoma. Again, Clemson looked a little bit shaky. I said I'm not the biggest fan of Kate Klubnik. We'll see as the season goes on. But I want to see these teams go up against big-time schools. I've been saying it for years. Stop with this cupcake nonsense. I'm not interested in Ohio State against Grambling or Ohio State against Ohio. I want to see Ohio State against Penn State. I want to see him against Michigan. I want to see him against Oregon. I just want to see good games. I don't want to see blowouts where I know I don't even have to turn the game on. When I see the spread is Texas A&M minus 55 against Kent State. Like,
yeah. By the way,
seriously.
Alabama does not play Georgia next week. Neither team is playing in week 4.
So they play week 5.
Yeah, I think you're right. Week 5.
Yeah. That is that the 27th? Yeah, that's the 27th.
Yeah, that's the 27th. Okay. That's the same day as Oregon, Penn State, which is the whiteout.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for is a couple good college football games a week.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm looking at the slate. I don't know where College Game Day is going to go. Like, maybe they go to Bloomington for Illinois against Indiana, or maybe
Is this week 4 you're talking about?
Yeah. South Carolina, Missouri.
I mean, maybe they go back to Miami for Florida, Miami, if Florida beats LSU.
I can't see it. They weren't in College Game Day was not in Miami yet this season.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe like another Florida game.
They haven't done a Florida game.
Maybe Auburn, Oklahoma.
They were just in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But,
oh boy, my Kent State Golden Flashes take on Florida State. What's the line for that going to be? Florida State minus 50.
Yeah. Well, we all know what you and I are going to be doing next Saturday because the wrestling war is going down.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure, next week. I don't want to dive into that tonight. We had a good show tonight. Let's not ruin the end of it.
All Out's going to be 100 times better.
We'll talk about it next week, guys, on Championship Rings. For Josh Ungar, the host of the Sports Room Talk Show, I'm Brandon Lewis, host of Brandon's World. Enjoy week 3 of college football, week 2 of the NFL. The NBA is right around the corner next month. The MLB playoffs are right around the corner. The WNBA playoffs are right around the corner. And football is back, baby. We got sports to talk about for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's true.
And we'll see you guys next week right here on Championship Rings.